Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Daily Dizzle. I got my addictions and my problems. Bitch, you have an easy life. Ah! Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Daily Dizzle. It is Tuesday, March 1st, 2011, and it's Tommy Dizzlemits here as always. Today we'll have a breakdown of the Oscar winners from the other night. We finally got a chance to go through and catch the show. In addition to that, we'll have some neat little statistics for you, as there were a lot of first-time nominees who ended up picking up the win on their first shot. We'll have a breakdown of that later on, though. In addition to that, we will also have a look at this past weekend's box office, where there was some flip-flopping with the number one spot. We'll let you know what movie was able to take the top of the throne. In addition to that, we will also have a look at the newest DVD releases for this week. But first, we have to talk about Charlie Sheen. He's all over TMZ, all over everywhere that will listen to him pretty much, just talking as much shit as he can. He got the last 4 episodes of 2.5 Men for the current season canceled, almost put 200 crew members out of work. Luckily, CBS is paying for the unfinished episodes, mainly to try and convince those 200 crew members to try and work on other pilots of possible successful shows that they're going to be working on. But still, there's the issue of Charlie Sheen is batshit crazy. And anyone who is saying that now obviously hasn't paid attention to the past couple years of his career. It kind of just goes around in circles. He falls off the wagon, tries to get back on, goes nuts again. And every so often you have this golden era of Charlie Sheen is so out of control and so drugged up that it's almost as if he is coherent. You know he's not because he's making no sense. Like, I am on a drug. It's called Charlie Sheen. I only have one speed. It's called Charlie Sheen. Oh. We get it. You're Charlie Sheen. We know that. Try and say your name some more in the interviews. But honestly, I could watch this guy all day. I don't care how nuts everyone thinks he is. I honestly think he's just doing all this this interviewing and promotion because, in addition to the fact that like his publicist quit in the middle of his TMZ interview, I'm gonna bet that his drug dealers are probably leaving him high and dry at this point because they're like, Jesus Christ, someone's gonna know it's us who did this to him. So now he's probably just getting out there to try and show how fucking batshit crazy he is, in order to try and convince someone else that, man, we need to keep funding this dude to keep acting like this. So I think we should try and get like some kind of benefit together to try and make sure that Charlie Sheen doesn't ever have to buy drugs again. Because honestly, if we provided his shit for him, at the very least, it's kind of like Jersey Shore, where you would have endless bad entertainment that would just instantly make you feel better about yourself. But honestly, hopefully Charlie Sheen gets some help soon, because it would suck to see him burn out like in the next week and be found in the alley some way. So hopefully he gets his shit together. But my absolute favorite thing is how the media is spinning it. You have ABC, who had him on Good Morning America and is going to give him a whole 2020 tonight, pretty much being like, oh, Charlie Sheen tells his whole side of the story, his whole side of the story. Meanwhile, the local ABC affiliate is just shit-talking him the whole time on their 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock news. You gotta love how they just try and present it in all possible ways. If you hate Charlie Sheen, they're gonna get you to agree with him. If you like Charlie Sheen and you really want to hear a story, they're gonna get you to agree with him. Fuck ABC. As much as I do hate ABC at the moment for whoring him out and also getting the exposure from him, at the same time, I'm kind of looking forward to what awesome clips are going to come out from the 2020 special tonight and be all over the internet tomorrow. So obviously, we should have some kind of follow-up depending on what crazy stuff Charlie says tonight. But try and jump back into other things. We got to cover the Oscars because we're a little bit behind everyone else on this. But we have the full breakdown. We got some news and notes. The pre-show, the red carpet shit. Kevin Spacey looked really fucking old, like older than normal. Like, he looked old as, like, Lex Luthor and Superman, and now the skin's starting to fall. Now he's really starting to resemble Gene Hackman, so, hopefully, that kind of gets under control very soon. Meanwhile, the other, interesting part from the, red carpet, Russell Brand, with his mother. If you've ever read his book, it's great to see him talk in public, because he does not change his style for anyone or anything. Even mentioning the fact that, him and Helen Mirren, had an awesome time on the new Arthur remake that they're doing with him as the millionaire Arthur. So it's going to be the shit because it's Russell Brand being obnoxious, which he's really good at being. But the best thing was on ABC during like the 7 o'clock hour. He's talking about subliminal erotic tension between the two of them. Like half the people on the red carpet probably wouldn't even get that joke to begin with, because they really had some dumb ditzes on there. You know, like, oh, I'm modeling, I can do interview, but I can't ask more than a 3-word question. So it was really real funny when the chick asked him to explain it, and then he just was like, no. And then she's like, oh, well, I didn't want you explaining it anyways. Then why the fuck did you ask him to explain it in the first place? Now on to the actual ceremony itself. I don't know why everyone gave James Franco so much shit. Obviously, he probably was stoned off his ass and probably didn't give a shit. And once he realized that his stoner material didn't connect with the older Hollywood audience, yeah, of course he wasn't going to give a shit, because he just had the script to go by, which he already knew was probably going to be bad. But to anyone else who is part of the demographic that he was aiming at, I'm not sure that they enjoyed it, because I thought he definitely wasn't one of the worst things of the show. But to jump right into the show, they started handing awards out really quickly, starting with art direction. Personally thought it was going to go to King's Speech, since the Oscars tend to have hard-ons for all those olden time set movies. Instead it goes to Alice in Wonderland, which obviously another movie that took a lot of attention to detail to pull off, even if people didn't think they pulled it off so well. Following that up with the cinematography Oscar going to Inception and Wally Pfister, which is awesome. Wally Pfister is a guy who's been working with Christopher Nolan on all of his movies. And that is why every time you watch a Christopher Nolan movie, they have a specific look and feel to them. You can thank Wally Pfister for that, so it's great to see that he actually gets recognized with an award for his efforts. The first acting award of the night ended up going to Melissa Leo for The Fighter. She's been one of those supporting actresses around Hollywood for decades now, so it's good that she got recognized. It's even better that she was able to drop an F-bomb during it. The look of shock on her face when she actually realized what she said was so fucking hilarious. They need to make it a regular occurrence that someone has that moment. Granted, it happens almost every single year, but this year you almost didn't think it was going to happen, and it was golden once it actually did. Animated feature obviously went to Toy Story 3. Was there much of a competition for that one? I really don't think so. Animated short went to The Lost Thing, and I'm very pissed it didn't go to Day and Night. Day and Night was the short animated thing for Toy Story 3, where you had the two little people, and one was the daytime and one was the nighttime, and ended up being rockets and awesome. And yeah, I just remember it being the most mind-blowing thing I saw in theaters, so I was a little upset that the Oscar did not go to it last night. Meanwhile, adapted screenplay went to The Social Network, finally starting to pick up some awards. It was Aaron Sorkin's first nomination and first win, so it's great that, despite the fact that he had made a name for himself due to The West Wing and all of his other work, it's great to see that he hadn't quite yet been nominated, and he's showing how good he is by, picking up the win on his first nom. But that's what happens when you work on one of the most critically acclaimed series of the last decade. So, on the original screenplay side of things, the award went to The King's Speech. Woohoo. Foreign film went to In a Better World. I don't pay attention to foreign stuff because I can barely remember the high school Spanish that I learned from my senior year. Best Supporting Actor went to Christian Bale, thank God. A lot of people have been giving Christian Bale the credit that he deserves going back to his American Psycho days. So it was finally awesome to see that he got the nomination, and on the first nomination got the win. I mean, you don't tweak out on people on your movie sets like you did on Terminator without being dedicated to your craft. But I think my absolute favorite moment of him winning Best Supporting Actor, besides him trying to make it to the end, but getting to thanking his wife and then starting to crack up a little bit, showing just how down-to-earth and emotional of a guy he can be. But my absolute favorite moment was when Reese Witherspoon, his co-star from American Psycho, was the one who got to call his name and present him with the award. It's always neat when you see two people that you saw together on film, and you get to see them in a moment where, one gets to pretty much present the other with the pinnacle of their career. So, very, very nice moment. If anyone has seen American Psycho, could appreciate that. Meanwhile, score, Trent fucking Reznor. So happy it happened. Could have gone to Hans Zimmer, equally as justified, but Trent Reznor, he's the shit. And honestly, he had probably one of the best speeches just for the fact that it was really down to earth, and he seemed very grateful for the fact that Hollywood is actually taking a chance on recognizing a former junkie like himself. But not only that, he also showed that, hey, I can do what I do best. 9 Inch Nails, multi-platinum, selling artist. That didn't happen by accident. He's using that same skill to end up, getting as many awards in Hollywood. So congratulations to Trent Reznor on that one. Sound mixing and sound editing were the next two Oscars given to Inception. And see, everyone says that Christopher Nolan got screwed, but you had to expect that Inception was going to get all the technical Oscars, much like The Dark Knight and Avatar before it, showing that the biggest budget movies can get some kind of recognition, even if it's not for acting credibility. Meanwhile, makeup went to The Wolfman. I remember people complaining that Wolfman had the shittiest makeup ever. Like, you could tell it was fake. How the fuck does it win an Oscar? Whatever. I'm actually just kind of happy that a horror movie got recognized on some level there. Costume design, once again, goes to Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, obviously, we have to pay attention to a lot of random details and have to make up the details as you go along and create a fantasy world like Alice in Wonderland. You'll get a decent amount of credit for putting a lot of effort into it. Visual effects, once again, goes to Inception. Film editing was The Social Network on the receiving end of that one. So you can tell as the awards start to wind down by judging from, okay, what stuff has won, the technical shit. They're not going to be winning any big Oscars later on. What stuff has won, like the random one-off here and there. Okay, which one hasn't won any? That's the one to go with here. And at this point, we only had one for the King's Speech. That started to change a little bit further on. First, we had Best Song going to Toy Story 3. Randy Newman. I love that Family Guy had the best Randy Newman joke ever years ago. But the only thing funnier than making fun of Randy Newman is letting Randy Newman be funny on his own. I mean, he probably had the greatest acceptance speech of the night, just bullshitting in front of everyone. And just being like, wow, I'm not entertaining, but I'm going to be so hot. So it was really neat to see that end up happening. Best Director ended up going to Tom Hooper for The King's Speech. It was his first nomination and first win. Yay. Too bad he's been working for like 20 years on unknown stuff before that, but still, whatever. Best Actress, of course, went to Natalie Portman for The Black Swan. Best Actor, as much as I wanted Jesse Eisenberg to win, it was kind of assumed that between the hard-on for The King's Speech and the General Academy's hard-on for Colin Firth, that Colin Firth would actually take it home this year, and that is, of course, what happened. And then The King's Speech ended up taking home Best Picture. Ooh. Now everyone will get to go see the PG-13 version in America, because kids will be like, what, Oscar-winning movie? And then they're just going to get pissed when they don't get to hear the word fuck. So, now to take a look at the photo finish from this past weekend at the box office. Originally, we were telling you guys that Hall Pass was going to be number 2 with $13.5 million. Romeo and Juliet was estimated to be at $14 million for the number 1 spot. However, someone either can't count or can't guess, as Romeo and Juliet ended up coming with only $13.4 million for the weekend, slightly behind the $13.5 million of Hall Pass, which means Hall Pass was number 1 for the weekend. Still nothing to write home about, as it was kind of a disappointing number 1 launch. It was the same levels as The Heartbreak Kid, which was the last Farrelly Brothers movies, which disappointed at the time it came out. Also similar attendance levels to Drillbit Taylor, which was Owen Wilson's last movie. So pretty much all the predictions of where you could expect it to perform in the same range of, we called it. Looks like you guys should listen to us a little bit more often. And to close out today's Daily Dizzle, we've got a rundown of the latest DVD releases for this week. Anyone looking for an old school family favorite, Disney's gone back into the vaults and pulled out Bambi for a huge Blu-ray restoration release. Heard it's one of the best transfers of an older movie released on Blu-ray at this point. So if that's enough of a reason to go watch it, the fact that your kids probably don't know what it is because they have never heard of Bambi before might be enough of a reason to make you want to go buy it and try and educate the younger generation. Meanwhile, for some more recent movies, 127 Hours will be released. That was the James Franco star where he was the hitchhiker who got caught between a boulder and had to saw his arm off. So if that seems like your idea of a good time, hearing a sound effect that has never been heard on film before and might be the most disgusting sound effect ever, go ahead and check that one out. Meanwhile, you also have Burlesque, the Christina Aguilera star that had Cher in it, that was nominated and won a Golden Globe, but never was nominated for an Oscar. Kind of ironic that it's being released on the day where Christina Aguilera is making news for being arrested for being drunk in public. Well, that's all the time we've got for today on the Daily Dizzle, but we do thank you guys for joining us here as always. If this is your first time checking us out, be sure to click the username Dizzlemits or go to youtube.com/Dizzlemits. We're here Monday through Friday, as well as a weekend update. So there's plenty of stuff to keep you busy if you haven't seen us before. So be sure to keep checking back for the Daily Dizzle. I'm Tommy Dizzlemits. We will see you on Wednesday.